Good morning. Hopefully everyone's having a good start to the week. Just want to send across my weekly market update for Houston. So coming into this week, we are seeing big picture for Houston, inventory slightly dipping for the final week of January, which is kind of normal for this time of year, kind of seasonal behavior. We see a little bit of a dip before we see a rise coming into that spring market. So, Houston inventory is slightly higher than it was this time last year. As you can see from the line graph here, we're slightly higher at the last week of January coming into February by 4.3%. And February typically brings a slower inventory increase and then really sharpens up for that spring, March, April, May, June market where a lot of listings do come to the market. As you can see here from last year's kind of peak coming up in that spring market and then coming back down again after summer and then leading into the fall. So buyers activity, we are seeing some weekly pending sales kind of run behind than the same time last year by like 16%. But like I said, a lot of the times comes to that spring market, we may see a pickup again. So, even though we have some rate stability, buyers are still moving on properties, even without major rate drops. So little kind of line graph here kind of explaining the pricing behavior. So what we're seeing here is, over the past several years, the kind of homes that did sell over list price, under list price, and at list price. So the red line here is kind of showing you the homes that sold under list price. So 62% sold under list price back in 2025. And then, sold over list price was going to be 22%. And then at list price is going to be 15%. So the only time we saw anything different was during that COVID time where the interest rates were really, lower, and home prices did skyrocket a little bit. So a lot of people had multiple offer situations, multiple people going in for the same property, which saw a lot of the times getting it sold over list price. So we're kind of going back into a stable market, what we were seeing before COVID. If you can look at the line graph here, back in 2017, 2015, 2013, it's very consistent to what we were seeing in today's market. And then, migration in Texas trends. So as you can see from this map here, it's kind of showing a migration trend for, kind of the ratio per 1,000 residents. So for Texas alone, the number is 2.1. So every 2 people in Texas for 1,000 residents, we're seeing around about 2 people migrate into the state. So obviously we're pretty, in the blue and compared to a lot of the other states. Look at California, negative 5.8, Alaska, the Northeast. So there's a lot of people moving from those states to some of the darker blue states here, as you can see. Texas is one of the, higher ones on the list. There's a few others that are ranked a little bit higher. But, Texas is always going to be one of the top migrant states because it does have, like, obviously big opportunity with job diversity, relative affordability compared to other states, and then there's different type of housing that you could afford here with larger lots, inner city homes and townhomes to condos, you name it. Texas has it. So ranch style homes, whatever it could be. So it's great for the Houston market. Last couple things I wanted to kind of touch on this week was going to be mortgage rates. So we are seeing a little bit more stability on the mortgage rates. As you can see, this is, after, I take a look at the line graph of the past few decades. So 1980s, it really did see some high mortgage rates. I understand home prices were a little bit lower than they are in today's market. And then we did see it kind of drop a little bit more in the 90s, early 2000s, 2010. And then obviously COVID came in, rates really did drop and then picked back up again after COVID. But we are seeing a little bit more consistently kind of staying hovering around that 6% over the past few months and year or so. And then mortgage rates and economy. So just taking a quick look at the past 3 years. So we are seeing kind of some of the lowest rates consistently since the last 3 years. So it goes all the way back to September 22, where we did see, it peak up a little bit into the 7s, into the high 7s, and kind of October, November of 23. And then it did kind of settle out a little bit in the mid 7s to low 7s. and then drop back into the sixes, and then now we're still seeing it again in that lower sixes. It did drop below sixes for the 30-year a couple weeks ago. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on it on a weekly basis and keep you updated on everything mortgage related, housing related. But any other questions that you guys may have, hit me up, whether it's be for your local market, for your individual home, or anything in the meantime. But anyway, just want to send you across your weekly update. Like always, have a good week.